Okay, the first exercise of the first day, push-ups on push day. Now the reason we start with this is because you can do it anywhere, anytime, any place. You don't need any fancy equipment. You don't need $1 million worth of machines to utilize these muscle groups. You can do everything from the push-ups against a wall or a staircase or a barbell, modified push-ups on the knees, full push-ups, one-handed push-ups. There's a lot of different techniques you can use to make these either easier or harder depending on your initial level of fitness. But it's a great exercise for working all the major muscle groups of the upper body, all the pushing muscle groups. So you have the chest, the pectoralis major, the shoulders, which is primarily the anterior deltoid, and then the triceps, the back of the arms. So those three major muscle groups are being used, as well as a bunch of other ones for stability. And the main motion is called horizontal, which is horizontal like this, humeral, which is the upper arm bone right here, and adduction. You're adding your arms together. So horizontal humeral adduction, and then you have a scapular abduction. You're actually bringing your shoulder blades forward away from your spine, so they're moving away from your spine. That's called abduction. So not that you need to remember that, but basically you're bringing your elbows forward and your shoulder blades forward when you do a push-up. Now these are muscles that a lot of people tend to focus on. A lot of people do a lot of bench press and stuff, but they also tend to get very tight. You need to stretch them out appropriately to prevent that, because you'll be walking around like this if you do too much of it, and also train the opposing muscle groups in the back of the shoulder blades and your upper back. So push-ups. When you're doing a push-up, you want to have your fingers in the right position so that you're not putting a lot of stress on the shoulder joint. If your hands are too high, they tend to impinge the shoulder. Your elbows are going to be up. If your elbows are above your shoulders, it impinges it, and it's going to put a lot of stress on the shoulder. If your hands are too low and you're pushing like this, it puts a shear stress on your shoulder joint. The ideal position is really around a 70-degree angle, and I found that if you just take your thumbs and bring them back and put them into your armpits, with the mid-axillary line there, like the chicken wing, that's really the ideal position. So chicken wing and push out. You may want your hands a little wider than this. There's an infinite variety of grips you can use. As you bring them in closer, you may use your triceps a little bit more. As you go out, you use your chest a little bit more, but it's more stress on the shoulders. So the ideal position is probably right around here, where your forearms are parallel to each other when they're in the back position. When you're actually doing a push-up, I'm going to do a modified push-up on the table here, but basically you want to line yourself in that position, and you want to make sure your thumbs or your hands go through the chest, through the shoulder joint, and you get full range of motion. That's the other main principle when you're doing a push-up. You don't want to go down and only go halfway or partial range of motion. If you have a specific injury or a joint problem, you do want to restrict the range a little bit. But basically, you're trying to get full range. You want to go down until your chest hits the table, the floor, whatever you're doing this on. So when I do push-ups, I like to have my hand off the end of the table to give me a little extra stretch at the bottom. My chin can go past the table, breathing out on the way up. If I was back like this, and most of my clients tend to do, if you're in this position, you go down, you're going to tend to reach with your chin first. Okay, so I really tell people, try to keep your chin up and your chest down while you're doing this. And it's always a 2 or 3 second count up while you exhale, slowly down around a 4 or 5 second count. Touch, breathe out. Now, if your thighs tend to hit or your stomach tends to hit, that takes a little resistance off. You know, it turns into like a seal type movement. So you really want your hips arched up a little bit. The only thing you should be touching is your chest, and drive it up. And if you do these correctly, the right range of motion, the right hand position, they're a lot tougher than you think. I mean, I could do the real ones. I could do the one-handed, maybe one or two. But they're really tough, especially if you're doing the right cadence, the 2-3 count and the 4 or 5 count. So don't take this basic exercise for granted. It's in your program for a reason. It's in here first for a reason. It's a great standalone exercise. If this is all you had access to, a floor to do push-ups, and you didn't do anything else for your whole pushing workout, if you did enough push-ups, enough sets, enough reps, you'd have a great workout anyway. Ideal situation though, cardio, push-ups, and then on to pec fly, one of the best horizontal humeral adducting exercises on the market today.